All right, today we are diving into something truly special. It's a fascinating peek into pure creativity, a completely homemade rulebook for a role playing game. Let's get right into it. And that's it. That's how it starts. No big fanfare, no flashy title page. Just so I made a kind of rulebook. This perfectly sets the tone, right? It tells you everything you need to know. This isn't some slick corporate product. It's personal, it's informal, and it's all about having fun. So, where does any epic adventure really begin? Well, it starts with a hero, your hero. So, the very first thing we're going to do is build a character from scratch. And this system gives you some really cool tools to work with. Okay, first things first, the basics. You've got your character's name, your name, and then you pick a race, which can be anything you can imagine, from a human to an orc to a robot. Then you've got your background and your alignment. Now, the class system is pretty neat. You mix and match, so you could be a magic fighter or maybe a gunner tank. For this explainer, let's just create a character. We'll call him Grok. He's an orc and he's a healer. I like that, a gentle giant. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Forget the stats you're used to. This team uses a unique system called chised. That stands for charisma, health, intelligence, strength, education, and determination. You get 90 points to spread out however you want, and that's what defines your character's core abilities. It's a really fresh take on what makes a hero tick. So, the basic character is done, but what if you want a little more flavor, a little more drama, maybe a little more danger? Well, the game has you covered with some optional and frankly pretty intense choices. Okay, so if your dungeon master gives you the green light, you can choose one of these three unique bonds. You could have a symbiote, which gives you powers but also a weakness, and yeah, trying to burn it off kills you. Or you could take on a rot, which is basically an incurable condition like vampirism that you can spread to others. Or you could have a soul link, a specific character who is fated to show up in every single adventure you have. These aren't just little quirks, they are massive, permanent commitments that will define your story. Okay, our hero, Grok the Orc Healer, is ready to go. He's got his stats, maybe he's even got a pesky symbiote, but how does he actually do stuff in this world? How do you play? This. This is the heart and soul of the entire game. The core philosophy is pure freedom. The only real limit here is your own imagination. All the other rules we're going to talk about, they're not there to tell you no. They're there to give you a framework for your craziest ideas. So, to see how that freedom works, let's start small. A simple punch. Pretty low stakes, right? It's a simple action with a simple dice roll. This is our baseline. And now look at this. This just brilliantly shows you the absolute scale of what this game allows. You can go from throwing a punch to literally inventing a new way for people to think. The mechanics are built to scale with how epic your ideas are. This is a game that is begging you to think big, like really, really big. But this game isn't just about individual actions. It's about building a legacy, about leaving a permanent mark on the world itself. So let's look at the systems that actually let you do that. The people you meet in this world, they remember you. Your actions matter. And your relationships with them can fall anywhere on this spectrum, from your absolute arch nemesis to your spouse. And yeah, with enough charisma, you can even convince people to worship you. And check out the economy. It is surprisingly deep. You're not just counting gold pieces. You are juggling seven different kinds of currency. You're trading in souls, virtue, reputation. Everything is a resource that you can use. And your ambition doesn't have to stop with just getting rich. You can buy or conquer your own land, build it up. And once you hit 1,000 acres, you can just declare your own sovereign nation. You can start wars, expand your empire. The game literally lets you go from adventurer to emperor. So, as a ruler, you might end up taking prisoners, and the rulebook has some very stark directives for that. They can be put to work, they can be made into guards. The rules also say, and I'm quoting directly from the text here, they can be set to produce children with any other creature, or you can experiment on them, though it does note that part is a work in progress. So, with all of these incredible, world-altering things you can do, from becoming a god to ruling an entire nation, how do you actually win? What's the end game? Well, the game gives you 4 pretty clear ways to claim victory. You can go for domination, which means you just eliminate all your enemies. There's conquest, where you take over the entire map. You could achieve ascension by getting 100 people to worship you, basically becoming a deity. Or
You can just follow the narrative path, completing the main story your dungeon master lays out.
We've looked at rules for inventing new philosophies, for building empires, for literally binding your soul to things. But there's one rule that stands above them all, one final truth that governs this whole creative universe. I mean, think about it. When you can do anything from throw a simple punch to become a god, who actually decides what happens? Who's the final judge of reality in this world?
And there it is, the punchline. The most crucial rule of all is that this entire, sprawling, ambitious document, it's just a suggestion. It's a guide. But at the end of the day, the real game is the story you tell together, and the dungeon master always has the final say. And really, that's what makes this kind of rulebook so special. It's not about strict mechanics or limitations. It's a testament to raw creativity. It's a toolkit for building worlds and having a blast with your friends. And it just proves that the most powerful game systems aren't always the most complicated. Sometimes the only rule you really need is the one that sets your imagination free.
All right, today we are diving into something true.